Can one person make a profound difference? If anyone has, it's Dr. Harry Edwards, Professor Emeritus of Sociology at the University of California at Berkeley. My biggest impact. Harry Edwards was born on November 22, 1942 in East St. Louis, Illinois. The second of 8 kids, he was raised by his father after his mother left the family during his childhood. An exceptional four-sport athlete, Edwards left for California to study at San Jose State University, but due to poor grades, he landed at Fresno City College initially. Once he completed his studies at Fresno City College, Edwards received a track scholarship to throw discus at San Jose State University, where he set a distance record which lasted for over 40 years. He was also a starter and the leading rebounder on the basketball team. Edwards was an elite athlete, but also an exceptional student, graduating with high honors and going on to accept the Woodrow Wilson Fellowship to receive his master's from Cornell University. While on campus at San Jose State University, Edwards experienced widespread inequity and inequality which became too overwhelming to ignore. As a result, Edwards became a member of the Black Panther Party and the Black Power movement. His activism spawned into the Olympic Project for Human Rights. It was his brainchild of the racially inspired protest by minority athletes, primarily blacks, at the 1968 Olympics. Edwards' students at San Jose State University, Tommy Smith and John Carlos, raised their hands during the playing of the national anthem at their medal ceremony, creating a commentary which is still relevant today, now known as the Black Power Salute. Edwards returned to Cornell, attaining his Ph.D. in sociology. His dissertation was titled Sociology of Sport. The book's first printing was in 1973, becoming the benchmark work of the new area of study. Dr. Edwards set out to prove sport and society not only mirror each other, but there are inherent biases and prejudice permeating between the two. This image is of Malcolm X and Harry Edwards on the San Jose State University campus in 1964.
We have come a very, very long way since 1967. But the reality is that most of it has been compelled by developments at that time. My dissertation that I finally ended up writing coming out of 1968, Cornell University, was titled Sociology of Sport. And it became the first integrated textbook focusing on a sociological analysis of sport as a social institution. Up until that time, sport had been relegated to physical education. Sociologists didn't feel that it was up to their standard as an area of career focus or analysis. And one of the big challenges that I had was convincing even the people at Cornell that sport was worth looking at, that despite 105 years of sociology, a major institution, an increasingly important institution, had been overlooked and bypassed, mostly out of academic arrogance, that this was beneath us to deal with these physical activities. And the thing that finally convinced them that, hey, yeah, you can go ahead and write your dissertation in this area, was when I asked the question during a committee conference, my committee that was overseeing my dissertation, how can we believe as sociologists that a dyad, a 2-person relationship, or a triad, a 3-person relationship, is worthy of analysis that includes volumes and hundreds of dissertations, but 100 million people watching the Super Bowl is not worthy of investigation from a social. We
looks over the left side, goes in for the score. Touchdown, 49ers. Sports have always had the power to unite people, regardless of race, religion, or economic background. Bill Walsh recognized the power of locker room unity. To this goal, in 1985, the legendary 49ers coach signed a 6'9", 280-pound academic powerhouse out of San Jose State. His name is Harry Edwards. And as a sociologist and activist, he ranks among the most influential voices in the history of sports.
One of the great things that I've always seen around Harry is when he comes into rooms, he's trying to identify the whole room. He's trying to make sure that it's all inclusive. He's trying to make sure that he can rise it up. He's trying to make sure that we're all going to be better for it.
Edwards had been an athlete himself. He was a record-setting discus thrower for the Spartans and the leading rebounder on the basketball team. But he found his true calling as a spokesman for social justice during the turbulent 1960s.
He galvanized a lot of young individuals' minds to the point where they started to think outside the box in terms of what needs to be done, what people can do, try and make a difference in society.
Dr. Harry Edwards has 4 Super Bowl rings he won as part of the 49ers organization. He was an essential part of building the dynasty by creating the plan they call 49ers Forever, teaching and fostering players to be successfully respectful citizens, believing this created a more cohesive team. In 1992, he was also part of creating the Minority Coaches Internship Program, produced a number of NFL coaches such as Tony Dungy, Dennis Green, Mike Tomlin, and a number of assistants. Dr. Edwards was invited to join the Golden State Warriors and the NBA organization to create a foundation for player integration at the professional level and responsible citizenship. Dr. Edwards' fellow San Jose State alum and Major League Baseball Commissioner Peter Ueberroth asked him to assist with the image of MLB after Al Campanis, a manager, was confronted and made disparaging comments regarding why black players couldn't be good leaders and in positions of authority in baseball. Dr. Edwards then hired Campanis to be on his committee to institute the necessary change. As an athlete advocate, Dr. Edwards has a unique ability to relate directly with his peers. In the image on the left, you see Samir Ali, son of Muhammad Ali, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dr. Edwards, and Jim Brown. In the middle, you see Colin Kaepernick kneeling during the playing of the national anthem to protest racial injustice and the abuse of authority. When Title IX was instituted in 1972, it was supposed to give women equal opportunity and rights in the sports realm. Dr. Edwards today believes that women's sports is the next sociological platform with a significant influence and change in the near future. The reason is the infringement on women's rights, specifically the rescinding of Roe v. Wade, and the problem becomes managing access to services and solutions for women's contraceptive rights.
And in St. Louis, in Missouri.
We want to close with this. I want to say out loud the name of our coach, Sharman Smith, and our women's basketball team. We can put our hands together for them. They're at the Pac-12 tournament even right now. If they were here, Dr. Edwards, I'm sure they probably would have been in the room. And I would just want to acknowledge their leadership in our department in the area of diversity, equity, inclusion, belonging, and justice.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you brought that up, bro, because I was just about to say, any place I go and somebody come up with a program, my first question is, well, where are women in this? When they say, I get up and I'm gone. Because I know, hey, it ain't going nowhere.
In the words of part of the interruption, I'm going to get you out of here on this one. Right? You foresaw the Olympic project in 1968 being successful. You saw that. You saw that the boycott of the 1984 Olympics was coming. You saw that. You also mentioned that you suggested or sensed that in 1986, there would be issues that relates to athletes struggling with drugs. Some would say you're somewhat of a prophet, perhaps, prophetic even, or at least visionary. You mentioned also the definition of a scholar activist, one who pursues disciplinary knowledge, analysis, and application at the pitch of passion. Speak to your audience today about what you see and how we can be scholar activists in 2022 and beyond.
Well, I think that what's coming down, women are going to be in the forefront. And this sixth wave of athlete activism, we've been through 5, there's too much to go through here, but this sixth wave of athlete activism is going to be led by women. I mean, that's why you see Naomi Osaka, that's why you see Simone Biles, that's why you see Serena out there, that's why Ariana Smith is so important, that's why Maya Moore is so important, that's why Candace Parker is so important, that's why the women of the Atlantic Dream Team who flipped the Senate in Georgia are so important. That's why it's important that we have a black woman going on the United States Supreme Court and a black woman who's vice president of the United States. Women are going to be leading this. But let me say this. The next big challenge is going to be Roe v. Wade. We look at Title IX in 1972, which mandated parity for women in sport. But very few people look at the fact that what gave colleges and universities and professional teams assurance that the women that they signed the contracts, that the women that they recruited to play basketball and so forth at the collegiate level in May would be around in September to enroll in school was Roe v. Wade. And when Roe v. Wade goes, if Roe v. Wade goes under attack the way it is being attacked in Texas and Georgia, if that sweeps the country, that's an existential threat to women in sports, because there's no way, and even if those women who are pros and on college campuses have access to the medical services and so forth that they deserve, this thing is going to hit the pool, especially in at-risk communities. So you're looking at a situation where the very foundations of women's sports could be eroded and washed away because of the demise of Roe v. Wade. This is going to call for women to step up and say, no, we're going to continue to play the games, and Roe v. Wade is going to remain in force. And by the way, men should get behind this as well with women.
Is it possible for one person to make a difference? Dr. Edwards has been making a difference for over 6 decades, still going out and being a lighthouse for society at the age of 82. This man is truly inspirational.